Woo! Joe Glazer at the fan forum. It's been 16 years with no correspondence, so we want to talk to him.
16.
You want to buy Sancho and make shirt sales, but we're not team Lewin. Don't think that we don't know what you're doing, because you know that the fans are still brewing.
They know.
Woo! Joe Glazer at the fan forum. It's been 16 years with no correspondence, so we want to talk to him.
16.
You want to buy Sancho and make shirt sales, but we're not team Lewin. Don't think that we don't know what you're doing, because you know that the fans are still brewing. Woo!
Yo, this is the OT99 Banter Room where opinions are shared and smoke gets served. Look, we're back again with another one. It's your boy Therms and it's NK. And look, we're gonna talk about the transfer window. Look, it's officially open. Well, it opened officially a few days ago, but it's exciting times. It's exciting times. You know what? There's so much to talk about. Look, I've got a whole list of things from the Glazers fan forum that just took place today to sort of all of these journalists coming out, from your Simon Stones to the BBC to Sky Sports to players, you know, Varane, Jadon Sancho, Trippier, Matter, you know, it's endless. It's endless. There's so much to talk about. You know what? With no further ado, let's get stuck into it. So the first thing we've got to talk about is the Glazers fan forum. Look, the Glazers fan forum, NK, came out. This was a long awaited for Man United fans. And basically, you know, the Glazers met the must, you know, sort of Manchester United supporters trust. And he basically tried to appease the fans. You know, he tried to appease the fans. He obviously knew that we weren't playing games. The fans are on smoke. The smoke, literally green and yellow smoke, was all over the place. The green and yellow banners was all over the place. Stormed the pitch. I'm not condoning it, but you know, stuff happens like this. And you know what? Glazers finally came to speak to the fans after 16 years of ownership.
All right.
Now, listen to this. So there was a lot of malarkey that was discussed in that meeting, but there were some key points that, you know, I'll read out, and this is from Simon Stone. So he said the club agreed to. So these are some of the promises. The club agreed to work with Must, Man United Supporters Trust, on fan share scheme. Shares will have equal voting rights to Glazers family shares. Says it would be the largest fan ownership group in the world. Won't confirm, the Glazers, that is, if volume capped, but isn't limiting it now. So that's one of the promises. So he's saying basically we'll have a lot of voting power right now. We'll have shared voting power as the Glazers. I think one of the things about this whole shares thing, 50+1 and all of that stuff, is Man United fans want to be heard. You know, they want to have voting rights. They want to be in a position where they can make decisions. They don't want the Glazers sort of running off and doing things like ESL and stuff like that without their permission. They don't want to be in that position no more. So that's kind of a big promise. Whether they can fulfill it or not is another thing. Fan advisory board to be set up with elected fan reps and fan groups on it. All fundamental issues to be consulted on, including joining/leaving competitions or leaving Old Trafford, etc. So I believe Chelsea have something like this set up, so that'll be good if we can. Fan forums to be explored and more representative of fan base, which is good. Glazer family agreed to pay all costs/fines associated with ESL, including Premier League fines. Look, they best pay that shit because that ain't coming out of our transfer budget. They also commit to major investment in stadium and also in training facilities. Now I heard that, you know, there was images taken of our roof leaking at Old Trafford. This is like not acceptable for one of the biggest clubs in the world where our roof is leaking. You know, it's not acceptable, but they've agreed to, you know, make improvements like I just said. Full cooperation in fan-led review. Senior execs leading and will support Must to engage fans on it. 7th commitment to ongoing engagement with fans and apologizes for getting it wrong for 16 years of silence. Yeah, you better. The 8th commitment, they won't commit actually to paying off the debt, which is a bit of an annoying thing because we've had a debt for quite some time. You know, 400 to 500 million for the longest time, for what I can remember, has always been an issue. And they didn't commit to clearing that. obviously it's a big amount, but they could have at least given some sort of timeline or structure of when it will be. They didn't commit to it. They also think the dividend payments are fair. I think Man United is probably one of the only clubs where their owners are taking out dividends. Yes, we are one of the biggest clubs, but there are many big clubs out there in the world, and we are one of the only clubs where our owners are taking out dividends. They've taken out maybe a couple of hundred millions over the course of a number of years.
Right.
And the final one, they commit to investment in the team this summer, which is, what we all kind of assumed anyway after the big mistake that they made. I think this is like to say, appease the fans, appease the sponsors, get us back on side, alleviate the pressure a little bit more. So those are some of the commitments that the Glazers made. So look, you can pick any one of those commitments what stand out to you. But for me, I think the major one is that, obviously the signings, they're committing to the signings, that's standing out to us fans, but also fans are having some voting rights to this with the Glazers, and I think that's a big move, getting them involved, more engaged, because I can't even speak. Our whole issue with the Glazers is the fact that we're not run properly. They don't know what they're doing. Our voices are not being heard, and I feel like with them engaging us more, we can kind of put our voices and opinions across more. Hold them to account for certain things and certain decisions, like why certain men are getting extensions on contracts. But you know what? What's your views on it? I've spoken too much. What's your views?
With the whole fans voting rights and stuff like that, yeah, I get that. Like, it helps. But the question is, who are these fans that are speaking for us? That's my question. Because just because they're going to have a vote doesn't mean that they say the same kind of like common goals as us. Someone can go and say, hey, you know what? I agree that what they call it, giving Mata a contract is good, because some fans actually are a big fan of Mata, where they feel like, Mata should be playing over. Some people are a big fan of Daniel James. So every fan got their own kind of like opinion,
Yeah.
Maybe it's good that we're going to have like a fan kind of a point of view over there too. But as you said, with us United fans, we only care about one thing. We care about one thing only, and that is winning. If United are winning the Premiership back to back to back, we would not even care how much they are taking out, how much we owe. We would not care, because all we know is that the club is winning stuff. And when you win stuff, it means it's being run kind of like good. I feel like one of the things that the Glazers have made, they kind of like been guilty of, is appointing like the right kind of like person to kind of like look after United, because they don't really know much about football, so they kind of like, they know about the business side of things. So they appoint someone, and that has been Woodward. Woodward, to be honest with you, have failed the Glazers. So they have to make sure that they appoint someone who is going to be good. And basically, they just how Abramovich kind of like does it, He had the right people to look after Chelsea. And, the rest of them, it's just not up to what they call it, him. They kind of like made the tough decisions, So I feel like that's what they need to get right. They need to get someone proper in place to help with the day-to-day running. The rest of them, the dividends, if the owners don't take it, someone else is going to take it. Someone is always chopping money from somewhere else, man. They always chop it. Just give us the signing, make us win, and the rest is history, to be honest.
I do feel like, obviously, if things are going right on the pitch, there'll be less of an issue, less of a concern. Obviously, this ESL thing was always going to get this type of reaction, get this emotion, but I feel like it was almost like the icing on the cake. And Manchester United has been quiet for a long time. Yeah, we've had a few protests here and there, but I feel like this sent us over the edge. So when people saw those riots, they thought, like it's just about ESL, when I think it goes deeper than that. Man United fan base has had concerns about the Glazers for a very long time. And as you can see with Glazer's own words, that he's been silent with the fans. And if you've got an owner that's owning and running a club, and you've got Manchester United fans that are so passionate about the club for 16 years, and you've had no engagement, that doesn't bode well with the fans. And Man United fans are not like Tottenham fans that are going to sit there and be quiet and humble. Man United fans are going to riot, as you can see. So I feel like, the riot was needed because it's obviously kickstarted and fast-tracked a lot of things. So who said that, things like riots is a bad thing? Because ultimately, these days, it seems like you need to riot, in order to get your voice heard. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's facilitated now and we're moving. But do you know what? There's so many things in that fan sort of forum and discussion that can be unpicked. But, you know, I've covered certain key points, and I hope people can digest that when they watch this video. And, you know, at the end of the day, we have to watch this space to see how it all pans out, because promises has been made by the Glazers before, and it's fallen on, you know, it's done nothing. Nothing's happened.
Like, look at clubs like Man City was involved in the Super League. Their fans came, they expressed it, they gone. Liverpool too, they came there too. Their owners, they protest and they gone, because let's face it, those clubs are winning stuff, you know. So once the club kind of like apologizes and say we're sorry, they let it go, because they know that no matter what, they're still gonna win stuff. We, in a case, has been almost years of kind of like disappointment. Everything kind of like Ferguson kind of like left. So it was almost like kind of like once Ferguson left and then David Gill left, who was a very key, by the way. We talk about Ferguson leaving, but he was a big loss too, David Gill.
Yeah,
once he kind of like went in there, Woodward kind of like went in, the whole club kind of like just, it's kind of like that kind of like pain. It's been going on there. That Super League was kind of like what kind of like triggered us over the edge too. But hopefully they kind of like keep on going until we get what we want. There's no one signing that we just kind of like keep quiet. Hopefully they keep on kind of like going too. But
and hopefully the fans can help them with that, because there's been that feeling for a long time that the Glazers obviously are not that well. And from a financial aspect of things, they're on it. But in terms of the running of the club, in terms of what's best for the club on the pitch, in terms of winning trophies and stuff, there's been that feel from the fans that they're not as connected as they could be. And hence the reason why we had certain people appointed in certain posts. You know, your Woodward, for example, or even though he's a banker, he's a finance man, but then you've got certain appointment of managers that may not have necessarily been the right appointments, a certain in staff, and you can see it now. So obviously Ollie's a club legend, you know, he's, you know, the famous 99 treble season, he was a main part of that, come off the bench and stuff. But then if you look at the board and he's appointed as his sort of coaches and stuff, you know, he's got people that is kind of, I feel, you know, feeling's good, but his time, I feel like, lapsed. You know, he's got guys like Michael Carrick and Fletcher and all of these guys in positions that are not necessarily specialists in their field. These are guys that are all learning on the job. These are like new to it. And we're talking about a massive club. We're talking about a club of Manchester United. We need to be having those elites, those elite coaches, those professionals. And which is why we're levels behind. If you look at Antonio Conte, there's been obviously talks about him going to Tottenham. Now that's hit a slight snag at the minute. And the reason why that's hit a slight snag at the minute is because Antonio Conte has gone in there and said, you know what, these are the conditions, parameters of which I need to be fulfilled before I take over Tottenham and lead your club to victory. He wants instant success as well. And he wants to bring in a certain number of his backroom staff that he relies on. Tottenham apparently are now saying, you know, the maximum they're allowing to bring in is 4 people. So there's all of these snags that needs to be ironed out, but that's what's causing the delay. Now, we need someone that knows what he's doing like that, can say, you know what, but is also attack-minded and also current. He's got the philosophy in terms of bringing through youngsters. He's got all of that. And the managers that we've had, we've had some success with them, but, you know, we haven't had a manager, in my opinion, yet that is of the stature that can manage a big club like Manchester United, that has the attacking sense that we want, like Ollie's, you know, bringing at times. That's got the tactical knowledge as well, all combined. We haven't had that yet.
Yeah, I think one of the big problems with United is that because the owner don't really know too much about football, he tends to give their managers too much freedom in terms of what to do, you know, and who they can bring in. Because sometimes you got to kind of like challenge some of the people that kind of like bring it. I mean, when Ollie came with McPhee, I felt like obviously it was on a temporary basis, so you want to bring him in because Ollie was kind of like inexperienced, would you say? So my feeling was kind of like a good person to kind of like bring in because he used to work with Ferguson, so he kind of like knew the club kind of like there, because we wanted to kind of like instant kind of like reaction after Mourinho got sacked. But I feel like when they gave Ollie the permanent job, one of the conditions should have been like, okay, we are giving it to you, but because you are inexperienced, we're going to help you choose your backroom staff. So what they did is they let an inexperienced manager choose his backroom staff. And his backroom staff had Michael Carrick, who was literally never managed before. The only time he was part of the coaching staff was under Mourinho, which was bad. You had Mike Phelan too, where Ferguson left, he went to Hull City, got them literally relegated. And prior to that, he was in Australia, working as a director of football or an advisory role in Australia, in a team. And then you go McCann, who was also in the youth team, got promoted there. And then now we got Darren Fletcher, who got no experience there. So we got a bunch of backroom staff with no experience. So if something is going bad, who look to? Where do you look to? And that's what the biggest problem is. And if Tottenham, for example, Daniel Levy is one person, he know football, He know football. He's been able to kind of like recruit very, very well. They first started off with, there was one manager that was used to be there before Poch came. I forgot who was the manager before Poch came. But they were having success. When he left, he got Poch inside and anything. I feel like the only kind of like bad appointment that he made was Mourinho, because he wanted that kind of like trophy. He kind of like went back. But I feel like they're doing the same thing with Conte, because with Conte, if he come in, you don't give him the money, he's a bit like Mourinho. If you don't give him the money, the kind of like money you want, it's just pointless trying to like hire him. But we need football people to kind of like challenge these managers in terms of some of the decisions that they make with their backroom stuff and a lot of feedback. Because all you got to change a lot of things with backroom stuff. Like, who's challenging him right now to say, hey, you know what, defensively we've been poor at set pieces, so are you going to bring someone in? Or you're gonna stick? Like, who is challenging him? To be honest, no one.
There's no one. There's no one challenging him. And if you look at our club, these are some of the clear, evident things you can see as to why we are not fulfilling our full potential. If you look at the board, at board level, you can see the issues there. Coaching level, you can see the issues there. Then you look at down on the team, and then you can see the midfield and the centre backs and all of these areas. It's not the recipe in order to breed success at the club, to breed the sort of success that a lot of us Manchester United fans are used to seeing under Sir Alex Ferguson. So obviously a lot needs to change, but I think what will help facilitate that is getting our voices heard a lot more, being involved in this and putting pressure on it. And you know what? We had a lot of these managers had a year off, basically. Yeah, they worked their socks off and stuff like that, but they had a year off because there wasn't enough fans there. Next season is going to be hella different when the fans are back inside. You know what I mean? United are not going to be sitting there singing Kumbaya when we haven't made a substitute until the 95th minute. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yes. Stuff like that ain't gonna fly. That's not gonna fly. As I said to you, with Oli, this is gonna be that kind of like last thing, because a lot of people have been kind of like on the borderline with him, because it's like, we kind of like place more of the blame on like the owners and Woodward. So we're kind of like taking kind of like a bit of the spotlight from Ole a bit, but I feel like the spotlight is going to come back on him this season, because not winning that Europa League, it kind of like turned a lot of people. Before, I would say it was like, say, 50-50, 51 here, you have 51 to say, not winning that Europa League has got another like 10 more %, like not on his side. So now it's kind of like 61 him out, 41 him in. Any bad side, it's going to go like 17. When they go there, Old Trafford become a very toxic play. They will let you know.
If I was Oli, Mr. Nice Guy, better go out the window. If you was Mr. Nice Guy before, you better throw that out the window and put smoke on the Glazers, because this is the perfect opportunity for you to do that, first of all, because you've got the whole Man United fan base on your side. The whole world is on your side that supports Manchester United. So pressure them to get those signings in, because there's no looking back after that transfer window closes. There's no looking back, and your arse is going to be on the line. But you know what? Let's move on, because like I said, there's a lot to discuss. Look, next topic, yeah. So I was on the net and everything browsing, and I came across a tweet from Simon Stone. Now, Simon Stone said that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has identified 4 key areas for improvement for Manchester United. Now, obviously, Manchester United's already bought Tom Heaton, a goalkeeper, free transfer. He was a reserve player anyway. He's not a player that is going to be getting into the lineup or getting any game time, to be honest. But I don't really count that as a transfer. But Manchester United has identified, 4 key areas of improvement. One being the attack, the central midfield, centre back, and right side attacking players. So we can just put that down to Jadon Sancho. But he's also looking for a central midfielder, centre back, and attacking position. Also, the BBC has also reported on this, saying that Oli says it will be tough to fulfill and sort of fill those voids of all of those, plug those gaps in our team due to the fact that it's a COVID market. And look, we've heard all of this before. Last season, it was a COVID market. We've done nonsense. This season, it's also going to be a COVID market. We've done nonsense. And I said to you, NK, I said, Manchester United, yes, we're going to spend money. Yes, we're going to get signings. Are we going to get all the players that we need to go into the season? No. Manchester United, how many times have we gone into seasons without plugging the gaps of everything you need? We might get a super signing here, everyone gets excited, but there's always an area on the pitch that Manchester United hasn't filled the void. I remember there being a gap in our midfield. We had the biggest hole in our midfield. Then we got Pogba and stuff like that, and it was all like, okay, it's looking a little bit better. Defense is now the issue. It's just one thing or another. Right mid has been an issue since Valencia Ronaldo days. There's always an issue, and I don't think Manchester United's going to get all of those signings that the areas which they want to sort of fill. They ain't going to get it. I reckon they're going to get a maximum 3 signings this summer, and then we're going to be left crying about a position that we need to still fill. But what's your views on that, man? Look, four areas Ollie's said, that he wants to fill, but he doesn't feel like he can do it in this COVID market. Look, I reckon it's going to be 3 signings. If it is 3 signings, what are you prioritizing? What areas would you prioritize? And what position would you say, do you know what? Next season, we can deal with that. Or in January, maybe, we can deal with that position.
Yeah, I feel like the Sancho deal is kind of like is one of them, because the rumors have come out that they kind of like gain it down. So I feel like the right wing will be there. Personally, if you look at the kind of like position that need to be strengthened, I would probably say right wing would not be one of your strongest to kind of like to do like with our current team, because Ahmed is one guy that kind of like we see potential if the manager is to play him too. Greenwood kind of like play too on kind of like the right wing at the moment too. And with Greenwood, you can tell like he's always gonna like improve too. Same thing with Ahmed too. But with Greenwood, the only problem is right now is like a lot of people see Greenwood future more as a centre forward, not as a right winger. But now he can still do the job. So the right wing position is not necessarily like a big problem like it used to be. But obviously, because it's Sancho, we kind of make it like a big kind of a thing. Like centre back is very, very key. We need a centre back. It is so key to get that position there too. Same thing too with the midfield too. Because I feel like there's not enough competition there for these players. Last season, after we signed Bruno, it looked like our midfield was one of the best in the league, And then all of a sudden, we just realized that, we actually got 3 midfielders there that are not up to the standard that we need, And that's Scott McTominay, Fred, and then Magic, They are good, but they're just not that kind of like midfield that will see you through a 38 game and win you the league. So, and then there is Pogba to where the role that he want to play to, he doesn't like it. So straight away, it makes us on paper having the best midfielders to becoming like the worst midfielders because the players don't complement each other. And that became a problem. Yeah. And then you go center back 2, where it's like, it was first of all, it was Maguire. We started the season having doubts about him because he had his whole holiday incident that he went to go fight someone or whatever. They twisted it around. People have forgotten about that issue. He came in and he was in a really bad kind of like form around the time. So they would talk about, oh yeah, we need a new centre back. And then it became like, okay, we need a new centre back to help Maguire because Maguire is not like good enough and he needs pace and everything. So centre back has been something that we've been talking about. But the thing about United is we always seem to strengthen the position that we need to strengthen like 2-3 years later. And by the time we strengthen that, we already got a different position exposed, But to me, if you ask me what position we need the centre back to create more competition there, because we don't have competition there. It's very average. Centre midfield too, very average. You need a lot of competition there too. And the right back, like Wan-Bissaka, he's kind of like good, but I feel like he still need a bit of it's just a bit like Luke Shaw. Before Luke Shaw was the only left back, that guy he was just relaxed. He can get injured and walk straight back into the team. After we bought a cover left back, he stepped his game up, and all of a sudden if we knew he was going to play this good, we must have just buy someone for right back instead of getting someone for left back. So I feel like those positions, the back area need to be sorted out, and then the center area need to be sorted out. Very, very key.
So you would risk not getting Sancho this season, and potentially he said, you know what, I'm done with Manchester United.
Well, you know what? In terms of what we need, realistically, if the Sancho, let me tell you, Sancho is a very good player. He will add a lot of good stuff to our player. But it's just what I'm just trying to say is like he is not a priority. Sancho, let's face it, is more like a PR signing than an actual signing. Our team scored 70 goals, but we considered 40 something goals. So we are scoring the goals, we're just leaking too much. And if you get someone to just stop the leaking, then you can feel it. There's no point getting attacking players if you're going to continue to leak the goals. You got to stop it from leaking first before you can stand up, kind of like fill it up. Realistically, Sancho deal, we should have sorted the other positions last summer. And the Sancho deal could have made sense this summer. You know, if we bought like a centre back last summer, a cover up right back last summer, it would have made more sense to get the Sancho deal now. But right now, even though it's a signing, I'm just not too excited about it because let's face it, look, even if we get Sancho, he's not going to say, oh yeah, we're still going to win a premiership because we all know that we need more than that. But if we get a centre back and a defensive midfielder, look, we're going to say, look, we might be able to close that 12 points gap. Sancho ain't going to be it.
You see, let me ask you a question. If you had £100 million in your pocket now,
yeah,
but you didn't have enough to get what you needed, everything that you needed with this 100 million, but someone came up to you, for example, take it away from players. Someone said, look, here's this latest Ferrari or Bugatti. Do you know what I mean? Look, this car usually costs 300 million. You're going to get it for 50 million. But the other two things that you need to do, sort out with the rest of the 50 million, you can't afford to do it now, whatever that was in your life. If you don't get this car for 50 million, you're never ever going to be able to get it again. That will be your last chance of getting it again. It's done. You would walk away from that.
Yeah, but it's like, what's the point of me getting a Ferrari if I don't have gas money? You know,
you said you haven't got gas money. We definitely got gas money.
We don't have the gas money. You can buy Sancho, but if you don't have, like, is it? You know, when sometimes you got a nice car, or you got a nice car, and your friends invite you to come out to the club because they know that you got a nice car, or sometimes they invite you to come to the club because you know what, who's gonna buy the drinks? You know, that's how it is now. Even if we get Sancho is not guaranteed us winning a premiership. They always used to say, attacking players will win you a game of football, but a strong backline will win you the league. I have never seen a team win a league with that, like with a bad, with a bad centre back. I don't remember the last time a team won a league without a bad centre back. It is always that partnership. When Leicester won it, they won it because of Wes Morgan and Kante. That's how they won it. Every team that win it is always start from the back. Sancho, don't get me wrong, Sancho is like the luxury signing, you know, whether you have a Ferrari or not. You're telling me, if Ferrari can take you to work and a Toyota can take you to work, it doesn't done the same job.
Bro, Ferrari, what do you mean? Get out of there, Ferrari.
Yeah, but you want to stand. And that's what we want to do. We want to stand. It's not about where we want to go. It's about just standing. It's a PR signing, Jadon Sancho.
I tell you this for now, and I know a lot of Manchester United fans are saying the same thing you're saying. They're saying, you know, we need to fix the holes, the main gaps. And I agree. But for me, I see it as this. Remember when Messi was, that whole issue with Messi and he was going to leave Barcelona? And then City was just like, you know what, we've got to get him. And you know, was trying to find them, scramble around to find the money available. Messi wasn't in their plans last year. They saw that opportunity to acquire one of the best players, arguably the best player in the world. You know, Ronaldo for me is always going to be the best player. And then they said, you know, we've got to do this. We've got to make this happen. Back in my mind, I knew that he wasn't going to leave. That was probably a PR stunt on his end. But Man City said, you know, we've got to get him. And I just feel like with Sancho, he's a generational talent, no doubt. And I feel like with this situation, especially what happened last year, if we don't end up getting Sancho, that'll be the last time I feel officially will be the last time that we can get him. I feel like other teams are getting. I think Sancho will actually now just say, do you know what? You man ain't serious. I'm done with you. And for me, yeah, we might be good and we might be getting a DM and a centre back and all of this stuff. But a part of me is saying we can't afford to miss out on this. Since Ronaldo or Valencia left, which is God knows how many years ago, was it 2000? I don't even know how long ago it's been. It feels like it's been up to like 10 plus years, right? We haven't filled that void. We've been so lopsided. We've been so imbalanced. Everything is going down on the left, as you can see with Shaw and Rashford. For me, that just needs to be solved once and for all. And Sancho is a British boy. He's from the UK. He comes down regularly. I heard that, Dortmund are actually upset, the bosses, because he's always taking frequent flights to Manchester, not London. And he's a guy that once you sign, you've got him for the next 10 years or whatever like that, and that position's secured. I think it's like an investor safe thing. I don't want to see it at a point where, we're in this position again, looking at guys that potentially cost double the amount, but less quality. Sometimes I feel like you've got to look at the opportunities, and then you've got to adjust. You've got to adjust when opportunities arise.
Don't get me wrong. Sancho deal. I want the Sancho deal to happen. I want it. But this is my question. If you are gonna go get Sancho, first of all, why did we have to even get Ahmed to begin with? Why do we have to get Ahmed to begin with? Like last summer, we got Ahmed. He didn't come all the way until January. What was the thinking behind that deal? Because now, as I said to you, if we get Sancho and we strengthen the other areas, that is no problem. Yes, you can get. If we get Sancho, it's like, okay, that's one position down. My question is, next season, what is our aim? Man United fans going to next season, what is our expectation? Because this season, the way we've kind of came second, everybody's expectation next season is that we want to win the league. If our expectation next season is to come second place or be in the top 4, then look, Sancho is just a perfect signing for us, because we can still do whatever we're doing. If we score 70 goals, I think we might end up scoring the same 70 goals a game. Max, maybe if you're going to add it, maybe we might score, 80 goals a game. But if we still concede 40 goals, we score 80 and concede 40, I'm sorry, but that position is not going to improve anyhow. He's going to be good for us long term. It's going to be good, but I'm just saying, if the goal next season is for us to win the Premier League or win something, I don't think he should be the main priority signing.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, there's the arguments can go both ways, and I do feel like looking at the season, we conceded a lot of silly goals, as you mentioned, but also we had challenges where we struggled to score against these defensive teams that are well drilled, well organized, 2 banks of 4, and I feel like we can get a centre back and we can get a defensive midfielder or whatever like that, but are they going to be able to have the tools? Is that going to help us with cracking a team that plays the low block, sort of very defensive? It's yet to be decided, but obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it will help us play higher up the pitch, having a good centre back or quick centre back like Varane or whatever. But would it be enough for us to crack those defenses that we struggle to create and to open up and get in behind? And we ain't got no one on the right that's getting in behind defenders on a regular basis. Rashford on the left this season has been iffy, and on the right he hasn't been too good either. Yeah, he's had a good season in terms of his outputs, but in terms of on the eye, it just hasn't done enough in doing what I know he can do. So having Sancho, who's very direct, skillful, can take guys one-on-one and create a little bit more, it's still a thing that Manchester United needs. It's a gap. But do you know what? Let's park that discussion. Because obviously it's going to be a busy summer, and the Euros isn't going to help that. But I do feel like maybe due to Euros, etc., and all of the other complications, we just ain't going to manage to get all the players that we need. But do you know what? Moving on. Jadon Sancho, actually. Let's talk about Jadon Sancho. So Jadon Sancho, obviously in the news, they're saying that Jadon Sancho, there's been discussions now officially coming out from big sources now, that negotiations has commenced, finally. We're starting to get figures now. So I've read that, Manchester United have been quoted the figure of 80 million plus 20 million in add-ons. And do you remember we had this discussion about Jadon Sancho before? I told you that 80 million is going to be the sweet spot. United, you know, we like to say, oh, 50, 60, all of this crap million, but that never, I've seen the patterns before, and it always ends up like this, where we end up having egg on our face in terms of what the actual raw price is. And Dortmund again are in the stance where they're saying, yeah, I think people are confused, because right now it's looking like we've got a better, cheaper offer, which we had, because last season they wanted about 110 million up front or whatever it is like that, and we was trying to do a structured deal. Now they're saying 80 million up front, it seems, and then 20 million in add-ons, but it's still 100 million, and they're saying 80 million in achievable add-ons. So we can't say, oh, you know, one day Sancho, you know, you get this for Champions League next season or whatever like that. It's achievable add-on. So they're basically saying they want 100 million. Now we have to try and negotiate that, because that's only 10 million difference from last season. Do you know what I mean? So there's not much of a difference if you think about it. Now Manchester United are optimistically confident, which is what Sky Sports was reporting, of getting this deal done. And obviously Dortmund's optimistic as well. I think the only saving grace is that the initial fee, the money that they're willing to take up front, is within Manchester United's structure to be able to complete. Like 80 million, I feel Manchester United could say, you know what, here's 80 million. Let's figure out this 20 million in add-ons somehow, some way, maybe bring it down to 10 million in add-ons or something like that. Do you see this deal getting done? And do you see it getting done before the Euros? And what do you think the settlement fee will be at the end of it?
I think the deal is going to get done. Whether it's going to be done by the end of next week is another kind of a question. And personally, with the money, look, the add-on is all part of the contract. No club in their right mind has ever gone and just paid the whole money upfront. You know, every club does that. Even with us, Lukaku deal, we still haven't got all our money from it. Every club mostly just like do the same thing. They'll continue. Went to Barcelona, same structure deal. You know, it is going to happen. I feel like some of the news that get kind of like put out there, they kind of like make it put out there like, oh, Dortmund want the full price. Like, they're never going to get that. They know that. They know how football works. It's never going to be like that.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe United might give them like maybe 60 million upfront, and the remaining 20 will be kind of like a bit like add-on, like, you know, those kind of like thing. If you play like this amount, if you represent, I feel like that's always going to be the deal. That was always going to be the deal. They're making it look like we are going to offer 80 million plus add-on. Look, United ain't paying no 80 million upfront. That Man United are not going to pay 80 million upfront. I feel the maximum they're going to put upfront is 50 million. 50 million they're going to put upfront cash. Trust me, if you put 50 million upfront in cash, and then you put like, oh, we're going to give you another, like, say, 5 when he make like 15 appearance, 20. Because look, it's the coronavirus. Nobody got 80 million lying around there. Everything is just like that. Every club, we had to go for a bank loan just to even cover during the pandemic. So we are not going to have that much cash there. And Dortmund know this. If they get 50 million upfront, that is a lot of money to get upfront. Nobody paid that kind of a big money upfront. Nobody done it. I think the only club that tried to do that was the Neymar and PSG. Because Barcelona, they were literally kind of like, they were hate when PSG kind of like came for that deal. That's what they done that. I'll just tell you, if the contract comes out and we are going to get the proper details of it, believe me when I say they will not get 80 million upfront. They will get 50 million upfront, and the rest will be achievable add-on to make the deal to like maybe 85, 90 million. But no, United are not paying 80 million upfront. No way. I
think 80 million upfront is a massive thing. But do you know what? It's interesting because it seemed like Manchester United last season was willing to pay something near that. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
The talk was 110 million up front, and I think Manchester United was saying, 80 million now. And I don't know if it was like 20 million later or whatever it was. There was or 30 million later in add-ons or whatever it is. It seemed like we was willing to do it. Now, obviously, we've had an additional year of COVID, and his price has dropped now because 1 year less of his contract now he's got 2 years. I do think 80 million is probably it's a lot to be paying all up front, and I don't think Man United should be doing that. I do feel like Manchester United, like you said, could potentially try to offer 80 million, 20 million in add-ons. 60 million, 20 million in add-ons, taking out to 80. But or even more, or maybe they could say 60 million plus an extra 30 million in add-ons because we're paying you, overall we're paying you 90 million instead of the 80 million that you would have wanted up front, because something's got to give, right? If we're paying less up front and we're, I think we've got to make it more appealing for them, Dortmund, to say, okay, I'm going to accept that. And that's probably got to be more in achievable add-ons later on down the line. And you know what? I'm fine with us saying, here's an extra 10 million for achievable add-ons later on down the line, if we can pay them less now and say 60, which allows us enough actual capital in our hands to be able to buy the players that we need, because it's very important that we have enough dispendable cash, disposable cash right now to be able to get
Yeah, because look, let's just talk about that. Like when Dortmund too, they do business too. It's not like all they do is just like sell too. They have to also go buy too. And there's no way that they are buying all their players straight up cash. They're not doing that.
Yeah.
So it's about just getting a thing. If you look at Bruno Fernandes, though, we didn't pay the whole full cash upfront. We pay a pay upfront. I feel like most deals, you just have to pay maybe more than 50% upfront, and then the remaining in installments, Maybe they can even do like installment, like every 3 months, we're going to do you another like 2 million, 3 million. Most of this, they'll work like that. Harry Maguire, we haven't finished paying for Harry Maguire. We're still paying for Harry Maguire. And he costs 85 million. But we're still paying for Harry Maguire. Don't sit here and feel like we're not paying for Maguire. We're still paying for Maguire.
Inter still owe us for Lukaku.
Right. Even Pogba too. I don't even know if we have finished even paying the whole full money. Pogba has been there for some time, so maybe we have finished paying the whole full money there too. But don't be surprised when Man United win the Premiership and we have to pay Dortmund, Juventus another like 5 million. That's how football works. Nobody paid that money out from Nigeria. What do you call it? Dortmund know that too. Most of the news that are coming out from sources, but no one really know exactly the full details of like the contract until maybe after that. That's when they want to like leak it out themselves or anything like that. But I feel like 50 million upfront and the rest installments is that they said that about last summer, but I don't think that was the whole case. I feel like United probably went less, because what United were trying to do is they were trying to set the standard to Bruno, because we got Bruno at such a very cheap price. And Bruno made a very big impact. So we wanted to kind of like go with the Bruno approach with every single club. But with the Bruno deal, what helped the Bruno deal was that Bruno said, hey, I want to come. So Sporting had no option but to blink at the last minute and just do the deal. Sancho ain't gonna do that. Sancho ain't gonna come out and throw all his toys in the prom like Bruno did. He ain't gonna do that, because let's face it, these players right now, they care about their reputation too. They want to be loved. And he ain't doing that for United. But I'm sick and tired of that deal, man. This deal been going on since 2017.
Do you know what's annoying?
When he went to Dortmund first, we wanted to go get him. We didn't get Champions League football. So we said, okay, we're gonna go him the year after that. We got Champions League and we're like, okay, you know what? It's a done deal. No, a done deal. And then now to everything, all we keep on hearing is personal terms are great. Man, just announce the deal already. They suck all the fun for us.
Any other club, right? Especially after first of all, they would have let that not have signed him last season. Only us, we can do that and mess up. But any other club, if they were in this position, would have already signed them already. It will definitely be before the Euros. We're the only club that's going to make it, the deal drag out till after the Euros, and it's just going to be a long, stressful thing. At the end of it, it's just going to be long. So it's going to be stress. Like a lot of Manchester United fans are tired of it. We just want that over the line so we can focus on other key areas that we need to do. And quite frankly, they just need to get the stuff done. They need to get it done over the line. But you know what? On that as well, before I move on, with Sancho, I do feel like a lot of the whole kit sponsorship deal type things is going to be associated with it as well. So that's going to be probably another reason why Manchester United doesn't get him straight away, because Manchester United, when we get a big player like Sancho, it's probably going to be our second highest sort of most expensive player after, or maybe between Maguire and Pogba, I'm not sure yet, but it's going to be one of our most expensive. We're going to milk it advert, social media milk it. We want to make sure that it's in line with when we release our new kits, so that Man United fans can buy these new kits with Jadon Sancho's number on it. And then, so we're gonna do all of that. So I don't expect it either to be happening before the Euros.
That's what I said. It's not a priority signing. It's a PR signing. Like that's all it is.
But I acknowledge. Yeah, the Glazers know it's a PR signing. They know he can be marketed. They know he's young. He's that type of social Lingardy type guy that's interactive on social media. But I must say, he's a quality signing, and he's a guy that will improve us dramatically. Yes, we do need a DM. Yes, we do need a centre back. But I want that right midfield resolved once and for all as well. I want it to be just done and dusted so I can go to sleep. That guy will retire at Manchester United, and that's it. Not these guys here that will come Manchester United like Di Maria, and the next season talking about, they want to go back to France, wherever it is. But anyway, on to another one of our key signings, Trippier, man. My man Trippier. Now, Trippier, obviously, he done his stint at Tottenham. He done really well at Tottenham. He moved on to Atletico Madrid. He got La Liga, which is, first time in a very long time, they've lifted a trophy. It was Suarez and all these other guys that lifted a trophy. Look, his family actually is apparently fans of Manchester United, and he's a boyhood fan of Manchester United himself. Now he's in Atletico Madrid, and I've read reports that he's shopping around in Manchester for homes. So he's taking the link very seriously. Seems like, from what I'm reading, that he's got every intention of wanting to join Manchester United. He's open to it. Atletico bought him for 20 million. Manchester United are probably looking to get around 15 million, similar to what we paid for Alex Telles for someone of his sort of pedigree and his age, etc. But Atletico Madrid have no intention, apparently, to sell him. They have no intention to sell him. So Fabrizio came out and said, that Atletico Madrid have no intentions to sell him. However, the Athletic has also come out and said that Manchester United are in negotiations with sort of Kieran Trippier. Now, these are both heavily reliable sources. Obviously, Fabrizio is the main godfather of the thing, but when he speaks, obviously, you've got to listen. They're saying that Atletico have no intention of selling him. Things may change over the months, but right now, that's the situation. But it does seem like we're in negotiations and discussing to try and get him over. Now, what do you think is going to happen with Trippier? Because Trippier looks like, in my opinion, a good signing, a guy that can push Aaron Wan-Bissaka, a guy that can potentially even replace Aaron Wan-Bissaka for moments in the season. Because this guy, Trippier, we're going to get to see him as well in patches through the Euros, but he looks like a guy that can attack, defend. He's got about 6 assists this season. He's more of a balanced player, of a defender, and he will help dramatically balance out the right side. Him and Sancho both being able to whip in balls, both being able to bomb down that wing is just music to my ears, because we are too lopsided. Manchester United will be instantaneously balanced by getting Sancho and Trippier. But what's your thoughts on Trippier anyway? Or who else?
Yeah, Trippier too is another deal that's like 2 years late. We were supposed to get Trippier before we got Wan-Bissaka. He was the guy that was linked to us. And then for some reason, Tottenham sold him to Atletico Madrid instead. Look, I'm all for him coming. My only issue is, if he comes, is he coming as a backup player, or is he coming to be our main kind of backup,
like competition
right back player too? And the thing about Wan-Bissaka too was, I feel like with his development too, he's kind of like getting to the stage where he's kind of like getting better too. What happened when Trippier come and Trippier start to play better, or what do you call it? He start to kind of like be better than him. What do you do with Wan-Bissaka too? That's my question too. What do you do with him? Because the thing about Trippier is he can attack too, he can defend too. Wan-Bissaka has been doing that to his game too. But another thing that he offers us too is that his delivery for set pieces too. It has been one of our weakest in thing, because Luke Shaw take our corners for us. Luke Shaw take our corners for us. And I'm sorry, but he's not a good crosser of the ball. So if Trippier come in, he kind of like start to do all of this to you too, and then you start to bench Wan-Bissaka too. So let's face it, Ole is not a good when it comes to rotating. Ole don't do rotation too good. He just finds something that works for him, and then he stick it. He'll be He'll be a great addition to the team. But the question is, when he comes, what is the plan for him? If only got a plan for him in terms of how he's gonna like use him and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I say go ahead, bringing him. But if he doesn't, and then he's gonna come and then he's gonna treat him the same as Tellers, then I'm sorry, there's no point trying to buy him too. Because they are similar players, you know. Tellers and Trippier, they are very similar players. Both of them are very good on the delivery of the ball. They can cross. Like Tellers was a very quality player in Porto. He was scoring goals and everything. And then he went from there, come to a team and not even get no minutes too. So if he doesn't have a plan how he's going to use AVB and Trippier, then that's just another going to be like, hey, signing that is not necessarily like needed.
So I feel like when we got Tellers, so I think Tellers, this Trippier signing is exactly mirroring Tellers, and I think they want the same outputs in terms of Shaw improved, stepped up his game, so they're hoping Wan-Bissaka maintains his level of intensity and sort of his performance levels if they get Trippier. But I feel like when we originally got Tellers, it was, in my opinion, to provide an additional attacking threat as well on the left back. In teams where, again, we're challenged, with them in the terms of their defensive type style, Tellers can come on. He's a good backup as well. So where you've got the European type Europa Leagues or FA Cups, you can play this guy and give Shaw a rest, because without him, Shaw will be playing sort of 38 games, Premier League games, and all the other thing. Now with Trippier as well, I see the same thing in him coming on against these tough teams, where he provides the additional outlet. You know how Manchester United, you can almost call their teams depending on what team we're playing. So, in terms of our midfield, I think Trippier is going to fall into that model. We're saying, okay, today we're playing this type of team. This one is going to need Trippier to be whipping in those crosses to Cavani to be getting his head on with certain teams. But with other teams, we're going to be like, okay, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, because we're going to need to defend like hell, because these men are going to be peppering us. I feel like when you're playing your Liverpools, your Cities, your Chelseas, your Tottenhams, those type of teams, where Aaron Wan-Bissaka is going to be a shoo-in. But when it comes to certain other teams that are probably more defensive-minded, I won't be surprised if I'm saying your Trippiers. If Trippier, depending on how much game time he gets, is dependent on how he performs in the season. If he hits the ground running. Now, Tellers did okay, but he hasn't set the Premier League alight in his first season yet. And maybe that's because Oli hasn't been picking him, how he's used him, and all of these things. But I feel like if Tellers came and really set the world alight, he would have probably started a few more games than he did right now. I just don't feel like he got the trust of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and Shaw just stepped up like a beast anyway. So it was going to be hard for him to get any games.
Yeah, but this is because you talk about certain games need a certain kind of like left back and everything too. But it didn't matter what kind of game we played. Shaw was always the go-to guy, See how he was kind of like doing Pogba, and sometimes he played Pogba in the middle, sometimes he played on the left. Same thing should have happened too, because there were games that, don't get me wrong, Luke Shaw had an amazing season too, but certain games would have suited Tellers more than it would have suited Luke Shaw, because he was a very great crosser of the ball. Like even when we were playing Villarreal, for example, and it was just too tight to get behind them too, we needed someone to be whipping in good crosses to see what kind of damage it done. At some point, he could have come on. The left back position could have been changed. Villarreal changed 2 of their fullbacks. So why couldn't we change the two? Why couldn't we just say, hey, you know what? Yeah, Luke Shaw is having a good game. Luke Shaw was never going to be part of like the penalty shootout when it went to penalties anyway too. So why don't we just change that? Because Villarreal were not attacking us. They were literally not attacking us. So we needed more attacking threat. So if you talk about Oli was going to buy him to help break teams down too, where was Tellers when we needed to break a team down?
Bro, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I feel like maybe it's that Oli didn't use Tellers enough this last season, the season that just finished. But for me, I felt like when Tellers played, especially when Solskjaer took off our 2 right backs, our first choice, Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Tellers, and played. Shaw and Aaron Wan-Bissaka and played, and Tellers and whoever, Brandon Williams at the time, whoever it was. Look, it was very vulnerable. And you know what? I was screaming for Shaw to be, on the pitch. And I just don't. I feel like whenever he's called on them and they've had their small minutes of time, they just haven't earned the trust of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, naturally and rightfully so, is reverting to the tried and tested. Look, it's his neck on the line. He's trying to keep his job. He's reverting back to safety first. We know that Ole's a safety guy. He's not a guy of many risks, which is what annoys us as Manchester United fans, because United fans are used to us going, taking mad risks, playing to the 95th minute even, scoring that goal. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's there like, nah, I'm going to keep these 2 DMs on. Yeah, I'm going to, no subs. I need to, not trying out Diallo's that you got spent 40 million there or Donny. He's just like that. And I feel like maybe next season, next season Tellez could hit the ground running, hopefully get more games under his belt, get a bit more confidence, get that run off. It's for us here and these players, it's all about that confidence. It's all about that, once you get a run going and you feel that wave, you feel good about yourself. Look, sure, we was all like, you know what, this guy, is he ever gonna come good? He does a little well, gets injured, and and it starts all over again. And he, under Mourinho, it was terrible. And certain fans would have said, you know what, sell him. But look at Shaw now, man. He's one of the best left backs in the world. He's so balanced going forward defensively, and you're just like, he needs to start every game. And I think Tellez, he can come good like that. We've seen him in Portuguese league, like you said, taking penalties, free kicks, set pieces, doing the business, getting goals like a midfielder. And I feel like, he needs that run of games again. Hopefully next season he can be used more. Trippier can come in, push Aaron Wan-Bissaka's performance up. Also, do well. I think Trippier actually will do well and hit the ground running quicker. He's used to English football. He's done it before. I don't think there'll be much adapting needed for him. I feel like he's going to hit the ground running. I think he'll instantly improve us. So Aaron Wan-Bissaka's got to be worried about that if that deal comes in. But I read that, Trippier had a clause in his contract, which, if he played 20 games or so, he gets a 1-year extension. So he's triggered that. He's actually played 27 games or so. So his contract now expires in 2023 instead of 2022. So for a lot of us thinking, that it should be an easier deal, it's not. It's actually the surprise that we got with Sancho when we thought that we had him. Now there's an extra year. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But from what I'm seeing and what I'm reading, he wants to come. He's interested in coming. Negotiations have started. Atletico reluctant to sell. It's probably going to be one of those deals that we want to get done before the Euros, but it might drag out again. It may not. But it seems that we're probably going to have to pay a little bit more than we wanted to initially to get him. It could be 20 million. It could be more.
Yeah, but 20 million is a good deal. If they gave me 20 million, it's still a good deal anyway. Still, it's a good way. But I feel like it's one of those things. Like if we want him, he will come.
Yeah.
English players don't really like to stay abroad for a very long time. They always get homesick anyway. I remember too, he had that ban that they gave him. So he had a good season at Atletico Madrid too, but I felt like he was still kind of like a bit like lonely with the pandemic, having to stay in a whole different country. They all get kind of like homesick. So I'm sure he will want to come back. So if we want him, we will get him personally. So I just hope when we get him, we got a plan in place for him.
If we want him, we'll get him. That's what I like to hear. Look, moving on. Look, so like I said, there's a lot to get through, and we've got through quite a lot of it, but there's a few more points. So look, Varane, the big dog. Manchester United has been linked to a number of centre-backs. That's one of our key positions that we're trying to fill the void in. Varane has been identified as our priority defensive option. Varane. Rumours have been going around, that it will take about 40 million or so euros. I'm even hearing, or 40 million pounds, whatever you want to call it, to get Varane. For me, I felt when I heard that is a good price. I thought it was a good price. I felt like actually it's probably a sell, to be honest, because I thought like, Varane's one of the best centre-backs in the world. Regardless of him having 1 year on his contract, I felt like, that was still really a good deal. But we all know the financial issues that Real Madrid is in, and they can't afford to be going into next season with him, because I think in January, clubs will be able to negotiate with him and get him over. Now, Varane, I read reports that Manchester United at first were skeptical of Varane because they thought that maybe he was trying to use us for contract contract negotiations with Real Madrid, use us as like the little boys, like scapegoat, like Ramos did. But over the weeks, they're getting more of a vibe that Ramos and Varane actually wants to leave. He's no intention of signing a contract. Now, this is the conundrum that I'm going to put towards you now. Look, Varane, right? His wages, right, is just under 200k. He's obviously going to ask for a wage increase if he ended up staying at Real Madrid anyway. He'll probably want, 250, 300, whatever it is. Manchester United, I've also read, has made him a lucrative 5-year offer. A 5-year offer, Varane. Significantly higher wages. Look, we probably offered him 300 already off the bat, or 280 or something like that. Now, how are Real Madrid going to match that type of offer? Let's just assume it's 300. 5-year contract. Massive 5-year investment, right? How is Real Madrid going to match that offer? Also, PSG, I've heard, made an offer and they're interested as well. And Real Madrid are also trying to sort out the issues with Sergio Ramos, whose contract is approximately, remember when I was checking it out, 338,000 per week. So they've got a guy that's currently on 200 that, wants to leave. Ramos is playing games. I don't believe he actually wants to leave, but he's on 338,000 pounds. Look, one of them's got to leave. Right? You ain't going to bump up Varane's salary to be matching close to what Ramos is and be able to sustain both of them. It's just not looking sustainable.
Right.
What do you think is going to happen with that situation, man? What do you think? Is he going to leave? And who to?
I feel like United, we should stop worrying more about Real Madrid offering him a new contract.
Yeah.
But we should more worry about maybe teams like Chelsea sneaking in to kind of like get a deal done.
Big threat.
I feel like he's definitely leaving.
Yeah.
And he's not staying at Real Madrid, because yesterday it was very interesting listening to Carlos Ancelotti, his new press conference. He talked about Hazard is going to be very good for Real Madrid. He talked about Bale can come and Bale can kind of like do good too, and he had a good relationship to that too. They asked him about Ramos. He said, like, what do you call it? Ramos is a very influential kind of a player, and Real Madrid need Ramos. And funny enough, he never said nothing about Varane at all. Like, he just did not really say nothing. And as a new manager, when you're going, they kind of like addresses you about the kind of like certain kind of like situation about that. Because from what I heard is that even Real Madrid even offered Varane like the captaincy when Ramos nicked, because he's a very kind of like senior figure there too. If you watch like Modric and stuff like that too, but he just didn't. I feel like it has passed the time where he was supposed to agree a new contract with them too, and nothing can save that. Because one thing about Real Madrid is most of the time, it's not their problem. Normally, are not even with the managers. Their problems are always with the president, because the agents always deal directly with the president. So the fight is not even wasn't with Zidane or anything. Zidane would like to keep him, as you can say, because they're both French and everything. But it wasn't that. It was to do with the president. I feel like he is leaving. It's up to Man United to match his wages, which I feel like we will, and also match the transfer fee. And if Oli actually want him to be precise, but I feel like that deal, if it's true that we are very interested in him and we can negotiate a transfer fee, I feel like that deal is more or less kind of like 60% done. It's a bit like the Sancho deal where only us can screw that deal. Only us can screw that deal, because I don't see him turning around and signing a new contract. I don't think it's a tactic to kind of like get bigger money from Real Madrid, because I feel like Real Madrid has already made it clear that they are not giving like luxury contract away. They have made it clear, like one of like Perez, when they had the Super League, for example, he was very kind of like very critical about some of the wages that some of these players were kind of like demanding. I feel like Ramos might just get it what he wants because he's a club captain, and if you was to let him go like that, and I feel like Varane is gonna leave. If you let Ramos go, then you got a whole kind of like problems there where you have lost two big leaders in the dressing room too. And Marcelo too is getting very old too, and they have to like replace that too. So they got a very aging squad too, and they need to be careful how many like they choose to replace. But with Varane too, as I said to you, it's one of those deals that if United want it, we will get it. If you want it, he will come. We got Champions League football. We got some French players too in our team too. Pogba can do that talk for us. Martial is there too. And I'm sure these players are going to kind of like speak to him, and he need the wages too. Right now, the thing about him is he don't have a lot of picks. At this moment in time, the only clubs in Europe...
he's quick. What do you mean pace? You mean speed, right?
No, I'm talking about options as to where the club that he can go to.
Yeah.
He don't have a lot of clubs to go to that will pay him that kind of wages, And a lot of clubs too, centre back is not a lot of team's problem. If it was like a few months ago, I would say like maybe Bayern Munich, but Bayern Munich already got the centre back position sorted out. Liverpool too don't look like they're gonna spend that kind of like money on him, so that's ruled out. I feel like the only team now that really need a centre back is Chelsea, is one of them. Maybe PSG, but PSG is kind of like okay, Their centre backs, PSG centre back, they are kind of okay, and they just left with like United, which we have been talking about centre back for like 2 years, and if one of the best centre backs become available, we are definitely going to be in a shout for it. It's a deal, as I said. If we want, we can get.
See, I don't agree with that. I feel like we struggle when we're going up against elite teams in a transfer window. Yeah, we did get Pogba. Yeah, we did get Fred and all of these guys against these elite teams, but it's because they said, you know what, I'm not willing to pay that money. I haven't got that money. Now Varane's being thrown at a decent and reasonable price. And if you've got a lot of people in the mix that is able to afford him, I think that puts us at a disadvantage. I feel like we're in an advantage place when the price is too high and we're the only stupid club.
But at the moment, what club in Europe do you really see him going? What club in Europe do you see him going?
So you mentioned one of them. So Chelsea's obviously looking for another centre back. They've got their aging. It's a stopgap in terms of Thiago Silva. And you've got PSG potentially that could...
He's not going to PSG. I feel like PSG is a bit lower off his standards, so it doesn't really appeal to him.
I don't know, because if you look at it like this, right, there's been discussions. I mean, I don't know, because for me, this is a team that went into a final. Varane's thinking, if I go there, maybe I'm enough to take you to a Champions League. We're looking at
3 Champions League medal,
I know.
These guys go 3. Sometimes I feel with some players too, I feel like it's about where else. Some players got an appeal. He already played in the French league before. It's about where to go next to. After Spain, you don't get any better in any league than the Premiership, or the German league, to be honest with you. And I feel like Bayern Munich got their defensive sorted out. PSG, say what you want to say, but they got good defensive line,
Yeah, they got
Macrini and they got that Kimpembe. So they kind of like good too. So you cannot buy him and then bench one of those guys.
You've got Chelsea, and Chelsea is a viable option. I mean, I said you something
Chelsea
earlier.
The only guy we have to worry about. They don't have no centre back.
They've got 1,000,001 players that they can sell as well to raise up funds. I mean, we saw that list as well. They can raise up over 100 million with ease by just some, Bakayoko Tomori at AC Milan, all of these guys, Giroud, Tammy Abraham. They've got endless amounts of players that they can ship to raise up cash, and they don't even need to do that in order to be able to get Varane. And straight away, Abramovich just signed that check and it's done. So we got to worry. I do agree that probably if he wants a new challenge, he might be considering the Premier League, because it is always been one of the best league in the world, most competitive league in the world. So, but I don't know if Manchester United's a shoe in. It helps that we've prioritized him. But Varane hasn't come out and said he wants to move to United. That'll make things a lot easier for us.
I feel like Varane will end up at United and Paul Torres will end up at Real Madrid.
Look, I hope that happens, man, because like I said, I'm backing Varane. Varane's the perfect piece to the puzzle, man, for our centre-backs. We can't be having Maguire looking at a young buck like Paul Torres. We can't be having him looking at a young buck like Koundé, as good as they may be. He needs to be looking at a guy that can say, do you know what, I'll conk your head if you get out of line, if you make this mistake again, if you don't stay on your line, if you don't do all of these things, I'll be the one to put you in the place. He needs to look at a guy that he respects. I don't think him getting, as much as we like Paul Torres and Koundé and all of these guys, Maguire needs to look beside him and say, yeah, you're a G. Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at Pau Torres, you're gonna see a guy who just won the Europa League. He ain't won nothing. So
Please, bro.
yeah, he can talk. Look, I'm a big fan of Pau Torres. I'm a big fan too of Varane too, but I just feel like Pau Torres is gonna be like the next PK. You know, that guy got a good 10 years in him too. My only problem is if he comes, would he later on want to go back to Spain? You know, it's like how we got kind of like David De Gea, for example. We got him at a very young age, and he has served as well. I feel like this deal with Pau Torres is going to be like that too. I like him. He's a very kind of a quality kind of a player too. We can get 10 years out of him. With Varane, we probably can get like 5 years out of him. So it's just about where you want to go.
Yes.
Our team need like experience
Yeah,
and everything, but either of them is a good choice to be. Either of them is better than Lindelof. Let's just put it that way.
And you're right. Is obviously that's a valid point. Like, you know, he could be wanting to go back to, once we've developed him even some more, he could be wanting to go back to Spain. But I just feel like if there's the other point as well, that, you know, it's a risk. You know, it's all a risk. You're talking about French players and Spanish players. Premier League is a totally different ball game. It's more physical, it's more fast paced, etc. It's a different style. And, you know, they may not adapt as quick enough. But for me, if I'm taking a gamble, I'm going to take a gamble on someone like Varane, because even if he doesn't hit the ground running, which is probably highly unlikely with all of his experience, he's someone that will command respect. He's still someone that can offer a lot on and off the pitch, as well as, you know, on the pitch as well. He's someone that, you know, has that know-how to get us through certain big games. And these are the difference make. These are the guys that make the difference when you're in these finals. It will be guys like Varane as opposed to guys like Pau Torres. Now, maybe Pau Torres in a couple of years' time, I just don't know. If we're talking about comparing Varane and Pau Torres right now, clearly Varane's the guy that's got the experience, the leadership, you know, guys that can, you know, organize our defense rather than having someone who's probably going to be learning. And then I'm just tired of us having guys that is just these that we're getting Sancho.
Learning.
You know what I mean? Learning. I just want guys that will just fill the void now. But look, let's move on. Let's move on with that. Look, apparently AC Milan want to keep hold of Diogo Dalot. They're happy with him, which is a good thing for us because it can raise capital for us. They're saying how, you know, they want to loan him out potentially with an option to buy. Manchester United probably would love to sell him. Maybe Man United can generate anywhere between 10 to 20 million pounds for his services, add to the bucket. And I think a lot of people forget that, you know, we have people like Pereira, Dalot out there that we can potentially raise money from. And the one that people forget the most is Wilfried Zaha. Now, Manchester United's got a 25% sort of percentage of sell-on fee percentage on his contract. So if he gets sold for 100 million, then obviously we get a nice cool 25 million from that. 40 million, we get 10 million. That's going to go a long way. And also I heard something recently about Lukaku that we've got.
I heard about Lukaku too. Like we had some kind of a sell-on thing on there, but then he said he's not moving anyway, so we ain't getting no money from that too. They need to finish paying us first anyway before we can get any more cash from that.
But look, what's your thoughts anyway on Dalot? I'm happy to see him leave. He had a decent spell at AC Milan. I'm happy to see him go. I feel like we can use that money, directly take that money and say, here, you know, Atletico Madrid, take this. Don't have to worry about our transfer pot. Just take that Dalot money, take it. Let's get in Trippier, move on.
And you know what? You have held the nail right there, Dalot. So you feel like we need to sell him to get another cover right back too, because he's one player. If he comes, Solskjaer will treat him like how he's been treating Van der Beek. He will come, and no matter what he does, he still will not get in the starting 11. You know, because we knew we didn't have a cover up for right back, and yet we still let him go anyway. So that speaks volume about what Oli think of him to begin with. Anyways, too, I feel like if they can get any money between like 10 million to 15 million, they should just try to just do that. They just like the same thing like they done with like Smalling. I feel like they're gonna do the same thing with like AC Milan, because AC Milan don't have the money lying around too. So they already know they love the manager, know him. He's already playing their system too. So I feel that deal can get done too. Man United might play a bit of like hardball and stuff, but they might end up getting like 15 million for him, and that would be a good deal too. Get the 15 million, give it to Atletico Madrid, and get Trippier in. It's kind of more like exchange in a way.
Easy, nice business. That's the type of business I like to see, man. Smart business. Look, moving on. Look, Obviously, there's been no discussions with Paul Pogba. You know, that was out there in the news today. You know, no contract discussions with Paul Pogba, no communication with Raiola about that contract extension. And quite frankly, United are not settling for, you know, a cut price fee on Paul Pogba to sell him this season. We're not going to accept anything like 20, 30 million euros, according to what Fabrizio said. So Manchester United are sticking to their guns, which I'm happy they're doing. I hope, you know, that pays off. But Man United can't be taken for a mug and selling for no cut price fee when we're having to be paying money like that for Kieran Trippier. You're going to be letting Paul Pogba of that type of stature go for that type of money. It's unheard of. You're better off letting him walk away for free. Anyway, what's your thoughts on Paul Pogba? Do you feel like he's going to end up staying with Manchester United, or do you feel like he's going to end up running down his contract and moving on?
Pogba got no option but to run down his contract. He got no option. He is stuck, you know. Pogba is a player that's stuck. Yeah. In an ideal world, he would love to move. But he's going to end up in the same situation that AC Milan goalkeeper is in right now. Because AC Milan, and he also agent to is Raiola, made him run his contract down, thinking there's going to be options for him. And now he's run his contract down. AC Milan has bought a replacement goalkeeper, but nobody at the moment, a lot of the teams in Europe got like their goalkeepers already. Yeah. So he's struggling to find a good club for him. Pogba deal is going to be the same thing too. The key thing about Pogba is, yes, he want to win stuff. Yeah. The clubs that he want to go to, they can't necessarily give him the wages that he wants. And even these clubs too, I feel like he favored a move to 3 big clubs that if Pogba leave Man United, he would have gone. Is back to Juventus, Barcelona, or Real Madrid. These are the 3 clubs that ideally he see himself.
PSG.
First of all,
PSG.
Nah, he don't want to go to PSG. He don't. If he go to PSG, he's just literally motivated by money. But he has been talking about, and the difference is, if you go to PSG, the same money that he can get at PSG, he can get at United too. You know, he can literally get the same wages at United too. But he has been preaching about how he want to win stuff. Mate, I don't care who you are. Winning the French league is not winning stuff.
Where's Zidane going? Where's Zidane going?
Nobody knows where Zidane is going, but I don't care where he goes. He's still, nobody can afford the wages that Pogba wants, you know. And even if, like, his only option is to just wait it out this summer, see what Transfer United do, and see how we do it. I probably feel like if Pogba is going to sign a new contract, he's going to sign it between September to December period. That's the time that he's going to sign it. Same thing that we done with David De Gea. He also had 1 year to run. It was a long kind of like drag. And then by September, October, he signed a new contract. Pogba one is going to be the same thing too. Look, right now they're trying to see anybody else. No one is going to pay him the wages that he want to get. If it's about money, he know he can get more money staying at Man United than wherever he goes. He want to win stuff too. I'm sorry, right now Real Madrid ain't winning nothing. Barcelona ain't winning nothing, and Juventus too ain't winning nothing. So
Barcelona's done some good business. Barcelona's done some good business though. They got Aguero, they got Gini with Wijnaldum.
Barcelona ain't done no good business.
Memphis Depay, Garcia.
Look at who they gained.
Aguero, man.
Aguero is old and washed.
Aguero's gonna kill that league. I bet you he's gonna kill that league.
Aguero has been at City for 10 years or so. Every single season he had a big injury. Now that he's old, he's gonna get more injuries than before. Memphis too. Memphis is good, but who is Memphis? This is Barcelona we're talking about, you know. And Memphis is going to.
I bet you Aguero gets 25 plus goals.
Oh, no, he wouldn't.
Easy.
No, he wouldn't.
He will.
No, he wouldn't.
He will. No, even with his injury, he's gonna get 25 goals plus.
I don't know. To be honest with you, the Spanish league too, the standard of the Spanish league has really, really dropped. Because this season, Barcelona was very poor. They still was in the title race for a very long time. Real Madrid was very poor. Real Madrid stayed in all the way there too. Look, I'm just telling you, Barcelona, they have not done no good business. Aguero is old, can't do that. Memphis, for example, did you even hear him at Lyon this season, he could not even get Lyon into the Champions League this season. So what's he gonna do at Real Madrid too? And you talk about what's that guy's name too that went there to the Liverpool guy, Wanyama too. Man, what's he gonna do there too?
Genie, yeah.
Yeah, look, all these players, wherever they want to go, let them go. Pogba cannot go. If they wanted Pogba would have gone there. They cannot afford Pogba. That's why all their transfer they are doing now is free transfer. Which means we can afford you. We can't even afford the price. Let it all give you the wages that you need to do, because Messi is taking the whole wages too. Juventus,
no, but I don't think it's the wages thing, because they like them signing all of those 4 players will be equating to them Pogba's wages. Surely it's like combined.
Pogba wages is 350. Like 350,000. You know,
calculate Genie's one, calculate Memphis Depay's, calculate Aguero's, he's not like cheap wages, and he's leaving on a free, I think. So his wages are going to be still significant. Even Memphis Depay is going to be significant. Any player that you get on a free, their wages are bumped up because you've got them on a free. So all of them combined is definitely going to be more than what Pogba would have been asking for. Easy, clear it, even double it. What I'm thinking, that obviously, which makes sense, is that they don't have the cash. United want big money for Pogba, and Barca, Juve, or Real, or anything like that is not willing to be paying big money, 70, 80, whatever Man United want, and paying 400k a week. What they're probably going to want to do is say, get him for free next season or in January, negotiate a contract with him then offer him that money. And Pogba will be well in his rights to command that money, and he will get that money as well, because
I feel like that's what's going to happen. But United will never let Pogba leave on a free. I feel, as I said to you, he's either going to sign a new deal between September to November time. Just based on maybe how well we're doing the transfer and how good like we are playing, and then he's gonna kind of like commit to that.
We ain't got no choice.
Yeah, we ain't got no choice. But I said to you, he ain't even got no choice too. If Barcelona or Real Madrid was gonna pay for that kind of like wages, he would have gone there in the first place, because they all wanted him.
No, but next season he'll walk away for free. We ain't got no choice.
Yeah, but let him go for free. Let him go for free. By that time, he's like 29 years old. No one's going to pay him the wages that he needs. He would rather cash in at United than go there. No, his agents want some of the money too, because the more wages that Pogba is getting, the more that he's getting too. Next season, he's going to be 29. Free transfer or not, he ain't going to make no like 400k euros. He's still at United. His next contract is going to be like 450,000 a week for the next like 4 years. He go anywhere else, he ain't getting that. And he's not guaranteed to also win the Champions League too, which is what he's so obsessed about too. He ain't going to do that at Barcelona. He ain't doing that at Real Madrid this year. I don't know, but he's kind of like one of those guys too that he's going to end up being kind of like David De Gea and end up signing a contract, because nobody in Europe can afford him right now. And not even like the transfer fee. It's more to do with the wages, because let's face it, right now, Pogba, 50 million will sell Pogba. 50 million will sell Pogba, because if someone paid 50 million right now and Pogba said he want to go, United don't have no, like they will have to sell it. If Pogba say, hey, I want to go, Real Madrid pay 50 million right now. Pogba say, hey, I want to go. We can't do nothing about it. We have to sell it. So it's not about the transfer fee. It's about his wages. They just want more money. And nobody's going to give him that money. So he's stuck.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to stay next season. What happens after that, I'm not 100% sure. But I think definitely he's staying next season without a shadow of a doubt. He'll be staying, and you know, he'll probably would sign a contract. I'm optimistic that he will, especially if we have a good transfer window. But let's wrap this up, because we've been getting through a lot. So there's 2 more points. Mata, obviously, we've been talking about wages and new contracts and stuff. And one, I'm feeling, you know, Mata is a nice guy. He's loved in the changing room. He's loved across Manchester. You know, Man United fans love him. He's the nicest guy in the world. People say, you know, he donates his salary to, you know, causes, charities, etc. Like, he's a genuine lad. He's got good experience. But this is a guy, like I said to you earlier, he's 32 years old. He's played 9 Premier League games. He probably hasn't started all of those 9 Premier League games. I doubt he has. He's on like maybe, you know, 160k a week. And Manchester United want to give this guy a new contract. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. You know, it's why we can't free up that position for the youngsters coming through. The Diallo's coming through. Let him have a more opportunity. Shoratore, Ilanga, all of these guys that need to be on that bench. When you've got someone like Mata sitting on the bench and you never play him, it's just an issue and it's stressing me out. And I don't know what's behind Man United's thought process when we do things like this, when we're extending all these contracts. We extended Lee Grant, we're extending Mata, you know, we're extending all of these guys. And we're just like, but with what purpose? I don't care.
And you know what? This comes down to having someone to run the club. Because if you don't do that, you just give the manager too much to do, you know? If only we went ahead right now to say, hey, I don't want Mata no more, he will be gone, you know? But right now, Oli goes there and they say, hey, I feel like Mata is good on the dressing room. I want him to stay. But the club then come up to say, hey, you know what? Yes, Mata is good in the dressing room too, but because of his age and stuff, we need to free some of the wages. We need to go. Chelsea got this kind of like thing in place where they don't offer players who are 30 years old more than a year's contract. That's why William left. It's like Chelsea keeping William because William brings harmony to the dressing room. Yeah. Sometimes you just need to know when to let these guys go.
Bro, Aguero got let go and he's how old? And we're 30, giving Mata a new contract. That just summarizes the difference right about now.
But then we are the same club too. This is the same club that gave Phil Jones a contract when that guy has not even played for God knows how many years. And yet he still got a contract because we gave it to him with the view that we might end up selling him. But the question is, nobody even want to buy him. And the best we can do is we give them this player's contract and we end up having to loan them out because nobody want to buy them and pay the wages that they're doing. And my problem is with Mata too. Why would he not even want to leave to go play regular football somewhere else? The age that he's on, he should be looking to enjoy the last few years of his football rather than stay on the bench. I think maybe United might offer him a new contract, but I feel like he will gladly reject it. You know, he will gladly literally reject it to say, hey, so. I like that. But it's just the same thing with, what do you call it? David Silva too. Mata and David Silva is kind of like similar players, you know. City let Silva go so that they can give Phil Foden a chance to be in the regular team. So why are we keeping Mata too? How are we keeping Mata too and then we're doing about all this promoting you? Let these guys go, man. Let these guys go. I hope they don't do the same thing with Jess, you know, and end up offering, like, Jess will come back, sit down, have a one-on-one conversation with Oli, and then Oli, they end up giving him like a 3-year contract that he's just going to warm the bench. All these guys need to go. Bay shouldn't have got a new contract. He did. You know, like we give contracts out for commercial things just so that we can just add more price to their selling, but it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Crazy. It is crazy to me. That is a lot of money. 160k a week. He's probably going to be getting, I don't know, 150, 140 now with his age or whatever, but it's still a massive investment.
Doing nothing. You know what
I mean?
Because next season we're in the Champions League, and we're in the Premiership. And
he can't get games now. He can't get games now. So what chances is he going to get if we add 2 more midfielders to our squad? What
right, and this guy, we were in the Europa League and he wasn't getting games in the Europa League. Don't make you think you get games. I don't know. Maybe I hope it's not true. I really hope it's not true because if it's true, then it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous, to be honest with you.
It's a joke. But you know what? What better topic to end this on? Dan, my man, Cristiano Ronaldo, CR7. Now look, there's been talks about CR7 linked with Manchester United, CR7 linked with even Juventus and all these other teams, right? PSG as well. Now, reading the Manchester United Evening News, they've come out and said Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a huge admirer of CR7. However, he's extremely reluctant to turn to CR7 due to maybe, you know, obviously his age and the priorities and other areas that he's got to sort of sort out. Simple question. Would you like to see CR7 at Manchester United this summer?
You know what? That one is a tricky one. If it's not going to affect none of our transfers, I said, why not? It's just a bit of like the Cavani deal. I feel with him, Juventus would probably not require transfer fee because they would want to get him off the wage bill. So if you can get him like on a free transfer of like 5 million, I'll say, yeah, why not? Because if he come there, talk about mentality, he'll bring that. If you're going to give Mata a contract, then look, Ronaldo is going to give you 3 times what Mata is going to give you anyway. Because dressing room-wise, he will push all those players there. He will guarantee us 20 goals. Talk about guarantee goals. He will guarantee that as long as it's not going to affect none of our transfer deals, like your, Sancho and stuff. And Oli has talked about, they asked him, are we still going to, we say we should not rule again another center forward. Maybe everybody maybe he's talking about Kane. Who knows? Maybe he was talking about getting Ronaldo in for cheap for a season or 2.
It's hard. I see it as like a CR7 would be great, like you said, if he doesn't affect our transfer business. But I think it'll be very unlikely that he doesn't because of his wages and how much, we'll probably have to pay a fee of somewhere between 20 and 30 million, as well as stupid wages. And I just don't think Man United's willing to commit to that. Secondly, I feel like Ronaldo's a guy that he comes into your team and he's automatically a starter, and he's automatically a guy that plays because he's unique, right? He's a guy that keeps fit. He looks after himself. He'll play every single game. And then I'm not one to be too fussed on but what happens to this guy, what happens to that guy. But I know we've just given Cavani a massive contract, 1-year extension. He's sort of, I don't know what he's on, about 200 a week or whatever it is, Cavani. And both of these players are guys that's going to want to stay. Cavani didn't just extend when he wanted to leave just to be sitting on the bench again. For Cristiano Ronaldo, who's going to play centre forward now because he's a striker now, no more wide man. And Cavani again is not a wide man. He did it at PSG, but he's at the age right now where these guys are centre forwards and they're both going to be wanting to play. It'll be interesting, Man United playing a 4-4-2 type formation with both of them up top. That would be crazy, but United will never do that. But yeah, I mean, I can't see it happening. Yeah, it'll be nice. It's like an icing on the cake. It's like the perfect fantasy. I mean, sort of like the fairy tale where CR7 he now finally comes back to United and the fans start chanting his name and all of that stuff. But I feel that ship has sailed and it's past. I feel like we just need to move on, and focus on the future, and invest money like that. All of those wages that you're pumping into him in a year would have probably been enough to buy you Erling Haaland. Do you know what I mean?
Well, true. But this is United. If they send someone like Ronaldo, they make all that money back in commercial sales. They will make all the money back in commercial sales. So they're gonna pay more wages too. But straight away, they're gonna put them in their profit because Ronaldo comes with a big commercial too. So at the Man United too is like a commercial club anyway. We do more good in commercial than we do winning trophies anyway too. So it will be like a match made in heaven for the owners, to be honest with you. And I wouldn't be surprised if that they'll get down. But at the moment, it looks like it's just kind of like rumors and nothing is serious. It looks like he might move though. The question is where to. That's the question.
If I had to take a guess, I would say that. So what is that? Juventus now, they qualified for Champions League. If I had to take a guess, I'd say that it will stay because he's in Champions League. The urgency is not there. But if he was going to move anywhere, I could only see him going to one club, and that's PSG. There's no other club I can say not buying. They're not going to be interested. Not Barca, clearly not. Not any Premier League club. So unless it's Manchester United, so I can only see him.
No, you can go back to Sporting, I believe, like that. But
yeah, they handling those wages
because the new manager. I felt like one of the reasons why the new manager left was because of Ronaldo to begin with. That's what I heard anyway. So bringing him back was a big statement anyway. And I don't know. I feel they are around looking for something, and if they present a good deal to the Glazers, that hey, Ronaldo can come. I feel if the deal makes sense to the Glazers, they will sign him. Personally, they'll feel like that's what we want, but that's not what we want. But they'll probably feel like maybe that's what we need. But we'll see anyways. It's United ball. You just never know what to expect from them.
Another social marketing tick-box exercise that would be. But United fans will love it. Well, you know what? We've spoken at length. Look, I told you that we had a lot to cover, and we covered almost everything. We covered a lot of topics. We covered just a lot. Our main priorities: forward signings, wingers, DMs, centre backs, right backs, fantasy signings like Cristiano Ronaldo, the Glazers, and the fan forum stuff. We covered it all. Look, we've voiced our opinions. The smoke got served. Let us know what you have to say in the comments below. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe and support the thing. This is your boy Therms, and this is NK, and this is the OT99 Banter Room, where opinions are shared and smoke gets served. Out.